Hey guys, down at the very busy and industrious Hamburg harbour, and I just want to quickly say something. Yesterday Azlan had a minor surgery. He's fine, and it's nothing serious, but it just had to be done. And now today I'm sitting here at this very uh, industrial setting, and these settings often make me uncomfortable. Um, but I'm growing as well because I also see the social structure is vastly important. I've lived in tribal communities, and many people dream of a romantic, noble path of living that way, and it's actually not. You know, it's very difficult. Cholera and typhoid and all those things, mainly sickness, very difficult. And at the same time, for example, development, it's so hard when you are disabled to live in a country with no roads, etc. And I see the benefit in that hugely, and social structure is important, and the side effect of that is trade and industry like this. And I think it's important we see the oneness between our own family safety and comfort inside the home, the heat we have, the food we cook, and the need for industry at the moment. It's not something to purely constantly oppose, it's something to accept as a blessing. Because when you see it as a blessing and you have gratitude for it, you can work with it. When you're totally opposed to it and it turns your stomach, you can't really work to change it. You just keep protesting it and shouting about it and wanting the government to change it. And we see that a lot at the moment. Lots of people putting loads of pressure on politicians to make changes. They're just people like us who are really clueless and saying, well, hey, how do we counterbalance industry and our comfort then? And I think it's an important narrative. If you make friends with these sites, if you make friends with the capitalist system, which is not free market that we live in, and you understand the benefit that it gave you, the security, the safety. Everyone complains of oppressive police force, but you go to a country where the police force can be corrupt, and you hope and pray that you would get a police force like that. And it's only because people get stuck in the same society, they don't know how to value the benefit of it compared to the other. And included within these industries is medical. And yesterday I was well aware, Aslan had this surgery, had to be put to sleep. It was very, very frightening as a parent to have that. But it would be 100 times more frightening for any parent in East Africa, where they have extremely limited medical equipment and training, like where I live in Tanzania. And there are a lot of children where we've tried to help them and they've not woken up from anesthetic. You know, we really don't grasp the benefit of what we have here. The number one cause of death in females in Tanzania is childbirth and pregnancy. And we really don't see what we've got. And I just want to give that message of gratitude and to say, if you ever want to make a dint in scenes like that, because I made this error too, I was repulsed by this all the time, but now I see, you know, look at the joy and the safety of our children in a nursery, etc., getting the education they need, the medical care they need, the right nutrition. And you look at that and you have to say, actually, that is a blessing in its own right. The problem is uncapped greed, you know, that is it. And when that industry plays at distracting people from the present moment, when that industry plays at making people dead instead of alive, is how I would call it, then that's where you've got a huge problem. Because that's where we see massive amounts of resources being ripped up and used just to satiate the temporary pleasures of somebody, basically, or to fulfill a little bit of the bottomless pit of desire, which will never be full. And that's what I take offence to, is that style of industry where there are countless things out here right now that are purely about making people not the best version of themselves, you know, alcohol industries and very obvious, you know, adult industries, etc., which are just despicable, but also plastic bric-a-brac industries, which is something we're all guilty of. We want to love our children, give them something nice, but we buy a big plastic bric-a-brac every year, and that's why we are very careful with regards to what we give to him. And I think that is a blessing. All of that is a blessing to humanity and our children. But at the same time, it's a curse if we are using it to try and fulfill ourselves in a non-utilitarian need. So remember the blessing of it. But remember, the curse is the use of it. It's the way humans are using it that is cursed. The way we are using it to try, instead of doing the work to be happy in the present moment by simply sitting still and allowing that to occur, which will happen after some time, we clamber around trying to get things that make us feel like we're in the present moment, but we know with every purchase it's temporary, it'll pass. So I think just a message of gratitude. I frown upon industry, I want it to change, but I also know that it makes us extremely, extremely lucky to be where we are in industrialized nations because of the benefits that we face with our children, etc. So, right, anyway, Aslan's fine, don't worry about that. Big love.